And we're going to fly, small flight across across the Irish Sea to the south coast of England, my old hometown of Brighton. I've known this couple for a long time. I'm going to introduce you together, okay? And then Ananga, you can speak first, then Yamuna. So Ananga came to ISKCON in 1978, actually same year as Prabhu. There you go. And I didn't know this actually. I didn't know that you met Srila Gurudev in 1984. That's way before the Westerners started coming to Gurudev. And you took Harinam the same year as me in 96, then Diksha the following year. And I remember very well Gurudev in that first year in 96 coming to Leicester. I remember Crispian, who became Krishnakanta, getting initiated at your house. So you're kind of like one of those people right at the beginning who was there with Gurudev when he came to the West. So actually, I will introduce you, Yamuna, after Ananga. So I'll just introduce Ananga. It's 12:45, so please take the Vyasasana until 1:15. Haribol, very warm welcome. And I'd like to add something a bit personal, is I've been around Ananga and Yamuna for many, many years, and you cannot find a couple more dedicated, more selflessly and humbly, and without any sort of desire for self-promotion or self-aggrandizement, just always serving, has served Gurudev and served Bhammaraj and Madidi so much, always serving in such a very straightforward and simple and beautiful way, a real great example of a bhakti couple. So I'm very, very honored and happy that you're going to, I won't embarrass you anymore, Prabhu, so I'll hand over to you. Haribol. A little bit of embarrassment is always good.
There's an embarrassment for you as well. I'm going to ask you to play the video now after the introduction, to just put Brighton on the map.
Okay, I will, but of course I can refuse, but I won't out of
refuse.
You want me to play that now?
Yes, please. I can refuse your introduction. It's
Okay.
from your heart, and this is from my heart. Just to place Brighton and Gurudev on the scene.
I could claim my WhatsApp's not working, Ananga, but I can't lie. Here we go. Oh, tell me if the sound's working. I'm playing. Is this working? Just put the thumbs up.
No.
No, maybe the sound's not working. One sec.
Maybe you can just play a minute of the video in that case.
Okay, so is the sound working now?
Yes, yeah. And this is the walkway that we often go on, where Gurudev went.
Yesterday, Gurudev, I went to London to have various. I went to London.
London? You went?
Yesterday, I went to London for business meetings. No, I've gone.
You have gone when?
Yesterday, I went to London for 4 business meetings, and people were asking me, because they know I'm not really at work. I said, well, I have my guru staying in my house with his team, with his entourage. So they were asking me questions about, well, how do you learn from your guru? When do you meet your guru? Why do you have a guru? So I was explaining to all these non-devotees about guru. Huh? No. They, it's not really, no. I explained guru from darkness to light. Guru. I read your book. Yeah. Yes, I love your book. Yes. I read your book. So I try to explain from my small knowledge about guru. Yeah. They like the idea. They don't. It's good that they ask questions. It's a good sign. Yeah. And Dilip is coming. Dilip, your lawyer. Remember? Yeah, he's coming to see you at 11 o'clock today. Lots of memories.
Thank you. Thank you for playing that, Yashoda. So, one Shakalpa Triviyascha Kripasam Vibheva Chapatitanam Panipyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. I'd like to offer my obeisances time and again to Srila Gurudev, Sri Gaurachandra, Srimati Radhika and her associates, and to Sri Krishna and his devotees, and to the devotees of his devotees. O Gurudev, you are so merciful. I offer my humble pranam to you, and I'm praying from the core of my heart that with the torchlight of divine knowledge, you open my eyes which have been blinded by the darkness of ignorance. I forever worship my Guru, who is in his form as an exalted Sakhi Manjari, is happily immersed in the company of Srimati Radhika and the other Sakhis. I'd like to offer my pranams unlimitedly to Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, who is now looking after us and guiding us and inspiring us to carry on our bhakti and devotion as he is following Srila Gurudev's orders to the word. And to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis today on this auspicious day of being able to glorify Srila Gurudev. Welcome and thank you for being here. So I was thinking about Gurudev's memories and what it means to remember Gurudev. And I was thinking from my point of view, the memories are like pressed between the pages of my mind. And when I'm able to open those pages, those memories, like they mature over time. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to given the opportunity to speak today about him. It's his very special year, 100th centennial year of celebrations, of course. Srila Gurudev is not bound by time or by year, but we take this opportunity as an auspicious 100 years of his presence, and he's always with us.
Prabhu,
So
before you get into momentum, can you just reduce the echo slightly? It's quite difficult to hear you.
Okay.
Maybe
I don't know
close
how
the
to do
door
that.
or adjust your position with the mic, or I'm not sure. Just play around. Let's play around with it for 30 seconds. If it's no better, no problem. But
okay, I'll try and sit back a little bit, and if that's any better, maybe I was too close to the mic.
Okay, try.
If it was too close to the mic, maybe that's
good. That's better. That's better.
Okay. So I also started my devotional life in ISKCON, having met a devotee on the street who gave me a book. And even before that, when I was about 13, I think it was in around 78 or 79, or even while Srila Prabhupada was still on this planet, the devotees came to a Hindu temple where we were practicing reading Bhagavad Gita and performing our ritualistic worship of Krishna. And I was very surprised by the dancing white elephants of Srila Prabhupada, because I'd never seen them. I was very impressed, but I couldn't connect with them in that way at that time. I wasn't ready yet. But then through meeting a devotee on the street and being invited to do some service in Leicester at the temple, I started to do some service, and then went to India for a spiritual search of identity, left my degree course in art, and wanted to find out really what was the meaning of life, why here, why now, why me, all these things. So that led me to many different ashrams in India, from the Swaminarayan to Vivekanand to the Jains. But then eventually I went to Mayapur and ended up at Chandrodaya Mandir, ISKCON temple. And there I felt, as I crossed the Ganga on a boat, I felt totally at peace and happy with myself, as if I'd found where home was. And so I shaved up in Mayapur and I started to do service there. Because I had teaching propensities, I was teaching at the Gurukul, and worked with the BBT, doing some illustration work with my art background. I met senior devotees there, like Bhavananda, who's there, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and all the other Loknath Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I served in Bombay for some time. I went on Padyatra, etc., etc., and life was really, really very blissful. I almost ripped up my return ticket to the UK and was thinking about staying in India forever. Little to my parents' liking, of course, because they sent people out to look for me and see where I was, if I was okay. I was very young at that time and impressionable. But I came back and finished my studies, and then I took Harinam from an ISKCON sannyasi, whom I served personally and traveled around the world with him. And he took me to different countries. We went to India and on pilgrimage. And ironically, one of the pilgrimage stops for him was Mathura. And this is when I met Gurudev for the first time. He took me to Mathura temple in Keshavji Gaudiya Math. I didn't know anything about it. He didn't tell me where we were going, who we were going to see, and who this personality was. So Gurudev, I think he caught my eye at that time, and he kept that eye, that vision of me in his heart until I was to meet him some years later, and how life's events unfold and where we're supposed to be in our life's journey, in our spiritual journey, manifests at the right time by Krishna's arrangement when our Sukriti is mature and we're ready to receive Sri Guru. That was when he came to Leicester, and that was in 1996. But I'm sure my first meeting with Gurudev was with this ISKCON sannyasi who didn't tell me who Gurudev was, who didn't tell me the glories of Srila Gurudev, and didn't tell me the relationship that he had with Srila Prabhupada. So this was my qualm with the organization or institution of ISKCON. But anyway, I let that go and moved on, tried to move on. One of my favorite memories of being in ISKCON was always the days that Srila Prabhupada will celebrate his appearance day or his disappearance day. And this was my most favorite times and remembrances. I used to love remembering the glorifications of Srila Prabhupada at the manor and all the devotees' offerings. And we would sit for 5-6 hours at a time just to glorify him. And that was just really my connection with Srila Prabhupada, as many of you know through his books and through his devotees. So I felt when I found out that how Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayana Goswami Maharaj had been instructed by Srila Prabhupada to give him his last rites and set him in Samadhi, and how they had a relationship for many, many years before that, then it made sense that I was connected with Srila Gurudev, and Srila Gurudev had arranged, or Srila Prabhupada had arranged my meeting with Srila Gurudev, and it was not by any chance or coincidence. Although I'm of course totally unqualified, I have no ability to glorify Srila Gurudev. And I thought of this analogy, it's like shining a torch at the sun to try and glorify Gurudev, or to offer Ganga water to Ganga Devi to worship her. It's like his words. I pray that his words come out from my mouth that will glorify him. So I have no ability other than that. So when he came to Leicester, I remember very fond memories. Sundar Gopal Prabhu and myself, we manically made arrangements for all the devotees or Srila Gurudev's entourage. At least 4 or 5 of them we were told would come to Leicester, and he would stay for about 5 or 6 days. And he'd invited himself. It's not that in 96, he'd invited himself. He'd written a letter to us asking if he could come. And of course we couldn't refuse. It was his house, really. In retrospect, it's nothing that we could ever offer him. But he came, and Sundar Gopal and myself, we were running around printing leaflets, arranging his bed, arranging his room, going door to door to drop leaflets off, arranging programs at my old school in Leicester on stage, inviting guests. And when he had arrived, it was like the Messiah had arrived, because our street was a cul-de-sac and the house was right at the end. And as Gurudev came, all the other devotees came along with him. They weren't invited personally or individually as such, but they heard and they came. And it was like, and see a whole array of a line of people going into the house and coming out. And as I passed by, they would ask me, "Who is this? What is happening at your house? Well, who's come? Is it somebody special?" Or so I would tell them, "Well, our spiritual master has come," and just try to pacify them. Try to tell the devotees not to park and block their driveways, or to get undressed in the middle of the street, or from their caravans they would come out and as if it was India. But that was real impression on me that Gurudev was so popular and so established already with his connection to Srila Prabhupada, that all the devotees who knew Srila Prabhupada would come and see him. Of course, this was Gurudev's mission, that he wanted to save, he wanted to save the souls, of course, in all different ways. He didn't want to come to the West initially, although Srila Prabhupada had asked him to. He was busy at that time doing his service to his Gurudev. But later on, when Srila Prabhupada in his final instructions asked Srila Gurudev to look after his disciples, and Gurudev particularly, when they banned him from going into his ISKCON temples, he said, "Now I must go and I must help those devotees who are struggling and are leaving bhakti." And I think of all the devotees who are now with Gurudev, who have now taken sannyas, or who are now carrying on preaching Srila Prabhupada's mission under the name of Srila Gurudev, the name of Gaudiya Mat and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, all those people like Bhagwan Das or Tamal Krishna Maharaj, or there's Budara Prabhu, Yashodanandan Prabhu. He didn't have much connection with this guy before, I don't think, but all those people like Chandrika Didi, Charachandrika Didi, I think he saved our lives and gave us, like Shamarani Didi, of course. She's a prime example of somebody who had come from ISKCON and carried on bhakti through Srila Gurudev's inspiration and took shelter there. And then, of course, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj and all the disciples of Srila Gurudev were now preaching his mission tirelessly, continuing to do that. So, there are devotees there that we can take shelter of, and we can continue to get Gurudev's inspiration from them because they are practicing themselves. So then in Leicester, he was wonderfully received, and I remember an instruction he gave me on a morning walk that really took me about 20 years to realize and actually happen. And he was talking to me as if he was my father and advising me. He never forced or pressurized. He even offered money if I needed to arrange for the programs, because when all the devotees came, we had to rent 2 different properties and make arrangements for their stay and their food, the prasad, etc., everything. So we remember, of course, Budara Prabhu and his family came. Krishna Kanta Prabhu, you remember, as we remembered earlier, he took Harinam there. And we miss him and we think of him often. We know of disciples now who want to meet these personalities, like Krishna Kanta, of course, is famous, Kulashekar, the musician, and they're inspired by him. And it's his birthday coming up soon. I think it's on Tuesday or Monday. And they're remembering if they could, if Krishna Kant could give his audience to them, they would be really pleased and inspired. I don't know, Yashodanandan Prabhu, if he's spoken already on our Zoom.
He's done some, he spoke on Gurudev's appearance day.
Okay, all right, we'll try and catch up with that. But if you could pass that message to him, the devotees would like to get in touch with him. And,
sure.
So these personalities who are like our role models, our mentors, they are very important, and we look to them for inspiration and guidance. as younger devotees, and really do feel inspired by their bhakti, their knowledge, their dedication to Srila Gurudev and to carry on the mission of Srila Prabhupada, of course. I remember Jagatam Didi also. She was very influential to helping us and inspiring us. There's Yashashrini Didi, of course. All these senior devotees that are very important. So I remember Gurudev in Leicester instructed me as to why I was working so hard for an institution that really didn't care for me. He was talking, of course, about my school. I was while he was there in Leicester, he was doing the programs, arranging everything, and I was going off to work in the morning because the period that he had come, it was the exam time, and I was the only one who could moderate or oversee the exams of the pupils. So I really couldn't take any time off work. And ironically, the secretary of the school was just living across the road from us. So she knew what was happening and going on. And if I made any kind of excuse or reason to bunk off work during this very important period of time in school, they would know about it and I would risk, being reprimanded, etc. So I kind of asked Gurudev permission, and he very easily and very blessingly gave, I could go to work and I would see him in the evening and take part in the programs there then. And this went on for 5 or 6 days, and then he told me, he said, why are you working so hard for them? Why do you think they will give you they would make you the headmaster of the school? Why are you wanting promotion? Why are you seeking recognition from these people? And 20 years later, almost, those kind of realities sunk in, and I wasn't getting anywhere in the institution. There was no hope of me, and I was getting older and older. So eventually, I resigned from the job, and since then I haven't gone back to work, and I tried to give my time to Srila Gurudev and his mission, and trying to take my bhakti seriously. But that instruction, I always remember, and it took me 20 years to work it out myself through my own real shortcomings and ignorance, really. So I was thinking of these qualities of a disciple that if there are disciples that are natural in bhakti, they are spontaneous. Then there are those who they see and they do. They learn very quickly like that. And there are those disciples who are told and then they do. Then disciples or students who they're told but they don't do anything. They don't follow the Shri Guru's instructions. Another type is that they're told and they do something, but they don't do it wholeheartedly. It's difficult for them to follow the Shri Guru's instructions. And then there are those students who are chastised and then they do something. And then the foolish student is one who is even chastised and he still doesn't do anything. And it's really that kind of category that I fall under, that even after Gurudev's chastisement, that I'm still trying to follow his instructions, but feeling that I'm not succeeding very well. So Gurudev, he came in and out of our lives like that. He came in like, he came in like a needle and pulled himself away like a plow, and he left such a hole, a ditch, like, where am I? And I'm thinking, who am I? And I have to find my relationship with Sri Guru again. And this relationship is very important for us to develop a sambandha with Sri Guru. So without this relationship, we cannot develop a relationship with Krishna, of course, in Srimati Radhika or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Guru is very essential. A teacher is very important. A teacher is needed in our life so that they can guide us and help us to get to our prayojan, our goal, which is of course Krishna Prem. So we traveled to, just before that, sorry, we had Diksha. I took Diksha in 97 in Holland, and that was I remember a real event, because when Gurudev gave the mantras to all the others in the room, I remember I was the only one who wasn't really satisfied to just receive the mantras like that. So I asked Madhav Maharaj if I could go into the room where Gurudev was, and for Gurudev to explain the mantras to me. So Gurudev sat me down next to him on his couch, and very patiently and very lovingly, he explained the mantras to me, and told me what they meant, and how to chant them. And it was a real blessing from Srila Gurudev to have received that. And that's my kind of a hook, my line and sinker with Srila Gurudev, that he took this time and trouble. Of course, like Gokumar, he met his spiritual master, and he was, of course, sent by Srimati Radhika to get the Mathura Brahman. And when he tells his life story, his Gurudev wasn't able to give him that time to explain the mantras. Of course, these mantras, they reveal themselves as our bhakti progresses and improves. And this is our aspirations through following the process of chanting the mantras at the right time, in the right way, in the right mudras, contemplating their meaning and purpose. So Gurudev's always emphasizing this. It's very important how we perform our bhajan and sadhana. So Harinam and Diksha was very important. Then traveling to India to see Srila Gurudev and to be with him. I remember in Jagannath Puri, this is a very special opportunity I got to also meet Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, and in 2004. Then we met Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. Before that, and meeting him was such an eye-opener, such a revelation of the personification of humility, the personification of love and devotion. And being in his presence was also such a blessing. So those personalities like Trivakar Maharaj and Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj were all special mercy of Srila Gurudev. So I was hoping that I would be able to spend a bit more time with Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. But of course, as the time went on, he was entering into his Nitya Leela, his sickness pastimes. But we had the very good fortune of sending medicine from here to him, and we was kept in touch with the devotees there who were serving him. So feel this special blessing from him. He gave us a signed copy of the entire set of Chaitanya Charitamrita in Bengali, with the commentaries of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, which I vowed to learn Bengali before I leave this body, to be able to read Bengali, to access some of the nectar that's in those books. So please pray for me that I'll be able to do that. There are many promises I made to Gurudev that I haven't been able to keep, and I pray again to the Vaishnavas and Shri Guru that he is patient with me, and that I will be able to fulfill those promises. I had a very nice time with Srila Gurudev in the way of being able to go with him on some retreats where he was writing, and there was only a handful of devotees. I was helping in the kitchen with Dvija Krishna Prabhu, who was cooking for him, and so we were serving Gurudev in this way. One particular place was Manali, which is a hill station that Gurudev went to. And Ramchandra Prabhu took me along, and we were going to spend about a week there while Gurudev was writing and resting. And I remember going to a hot spring that we all were in one hot bathtub with Srila Gurudev, and we were lovingly offering water to him and bathing him, and he was allowing us to do that. So these memories are very precious memories to keep to heart, and his generosity in allowing us to do it. So, but that night, particularly in Manali, he fell ill, and he was complaining of stomach pains, and we were wondering what to do. So Maharaja asked that we get some hot water in some mineral water bottles, plastic bottles, and offer it. We didn't have any hot water bottle for Gurudev, so we would put these plastic bottles of warm water on Gurudev's stomach to relieve the pain, and but Gurudev's pain wasn't subsiding. So Maharaj decided we would take him to the Minali General Hospital there. It wasn't a big hospital, but it was the only one that was available and open. So Gurudev was admitted late at night in that hospital. And we made a rota of turns to spend time with Gurudev, to watch over him in his room. And I remember having the slot between something like 2 o'clock in the morning and 5 or 6 in the morning when Mother Maharaj came to take over. And I was alone with Srila Gurudev in that room. He was lying on a low bed, quite still, but I was able to hold his hands and just to be with him there. And he let me do that. And his hands were soft like butter. And I always remember those memories with Srila Gurudev that were very precious. We took him to the Apollo Hospital the day after in a private ambulance, and he stayed there for about 5 or 6 days. This was, I think this was 2009 or maybe earlier. But he'd recovered, and at that time, Mother Priya Prabhu and Krishna Kripa Prabhu, now Siddhanti Maharaj, were there helping to look after him. So we were, I was able to stay in the hospital with them and help in any way I could. So that was a real privilege and a very wonderful opportunity. So we were also able to massage Gurudev. I remember him coming back to Mathura after that, and with about 10 devotees around him in his room in Mathura. We would massage each devotee. Vaishnav would have his head, and some devotees would have his feet. Two different devotees on his 2 different feet, and I think 4 devotees one on the upper arm, one on the lower arm, on either side. And it was a real blessing to be able to do that. But I remember Gurudev chastising me on that occasion, because I always used to end up, whenever I met Gurudev, he used to say, "What are you doing here? Why have you come?" Like I wasn't supposed to be there, or I just kind of gate crashed a party of some kind. Then I always felt like it was just by chance, a coincidence that I was there. But I was able to massage Gurudev, and I was massaging him the wrong way. I should be massaging him downwards, so the blood would flow to the, or was it upwards? Massaging upwards gently, so the blood would flow in the opposite direction. But I was pressing too hard on his elbow, and it was quite bony there, so I was causing him some pain. So when he'd finished the massage, he kind of got up and looked me straight in the eye. He says, "Do you know how to massage? Have you done this before?" And chastised me very sweetly as to the way that I was massaging him wasn't correct. So I remember that chastisement very fondly. Then we were able to meet him in different places, different times. And I took my children to see him when they were 15, 16. And as teenagers, they had their own ideas about how to dress and how to behave in sadhu sangha, and particularly in front of Gurudev. I don't think he was very pleased when they turned up in shorts in front of him, thinking it was like a holiday camp, and with their sunglasses and flippers like that. So Gurudev very quickly instructed me to take them out and see the sights and take them on different pilgrimages while we were there. With his blessings, we were able to go to different places, to Haridwar, Rishikesh, and then to Ayodhya, take darshan there. But the children were very fortunate that they had Diksha mantras from Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. And I always remember that as, again, another blessing. So, excuse me, sorry. we were able to do that. I'm waffling along, Yashodanandam Prabhu. I'm sorry. I'm just
Yeah, we pretty much run a couple more minutes if you like, Prabhu.
Okay, I'll just finish off. I mean, there's so many things. I apologize for the ramblings, but I wanted to share as much as I could with you. I don't know when I'll get the opportunity again, but to ask for your blessings and just to stay on this path and not to make any offenses to any devotees so that my bhakti isn't impeded. Of course, always praying to Srila Gurudev and remembering him as much as possible within all the other things that we do, everything we do is for him, everything we are is because of him, and everything we want to be is because of him. And in this way that when we end this life, we don't know when, that it will be remembering him and in any circumstances, and that he would look after everything for us, just like his Gurudev, when he surrendered, looked after him, and he had no worries at all. He gave all his love and affection to his Gurudev that he had for anybody. And this way he made in that service. So vanchakalpatarvyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Dandavat pranams, Guru. Thank you so much. I remember actually is it my connection or your connection that is bad? Keshi Madana, can you just wave at me, Prabhu? Keshi Madana? Yeah. No, it's your internet connection's a bit, okay, you come back, that's great. Thank you for your heartfelt and beautiful sharing, Prabhu. I remember Lester and Gurudev coming in that very special first year of 96, like literally it was yesterday. I can't remember the temperature. I remember sitting on a wall. I remember what your house looked like outside and inside. I remember Krishna Kanta coming out from his Harinam. Yeah, I remember everything. Yeah, beautiful. I love the idea. By the way, I didn't know you had Chaitanya Charitamrita from Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. Wow, how many volumes is that?
It's I think in about 7.
Well, you need to stay up at night because you may hear a rustle in the night and it's me coming to steal them.
I'm watching out for you.
No, but you know what we could do though is we could find a Bengali teacher online and learn Bengali together. That would be amazing. Because I've really wanted to do that because I've just finished reading out loud over the last 4 years. We've just finished Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it has such a potency even in English. I can't imagine what it would be like in Bengali.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How beautiful.
I started to learn some time ago when I was with ISKCON and then left it, and I still have the books and learning aids.
Wow.
To do that, but I've never got round to doing it in between all.
Who are the purports by?
The Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Beautiful. Thank you so much.